Today we're going to change this to an amazing landscape with the Lightroom app. Starting here in Light menu, first some basic tuning. Increasing shadows to get as many details from the darker areas as possible, reducing the overall exposure a bit. In the color menu mix, reducing the saturation of the blues in the sky. Also moving the green hues towards aqua and reducing its saturation. Moving the yellow hues towards orange. Increasing saturation and luminance. Also adding saturation to oranges. Increasing the overall vibrance. Now going to the masking filters. First, I will try to select all the areas other than the flowers. To do that, I'm going to choose color range and place the ring on the orange colors of the flowers. This will select all the oranges of the image. With plus or minus button, I'm going to add one more filter to this selection. We'll add a luminance range now. Selecting the bright areas of the flowers. Tuning the threshold so that mainly the whites on the flowers are selected. You can see the areas on the clouds are selected too. Now we'll use subtract the selection and choose linear gradient and drag it to get the selection of the top half. Now this top half is subtracted from the original selection. Now I'm going to invert the selection which selects all the areas other than the flowers. For these areas, I'm going to add haze by dragging the dehaze slider to the left in the effects menu. Also reduce the exposure a bit. Also highlights but increasing the shadows. Adding more saturation in color menu. Now we'll duplicate this and invert the mask. We'll reset all the sliders. The selection is now on the flowers. We'll add whites to make them brighter. Add saturation and also sharpness in detail menu. A separate linear gradient filter. We'll subtract the selection with a radial filter where I will add light later. Now reducing the exposure to make that part darker. A radial filter now here in the middle part where source light will be added. Adding exposure. Orangish tones in the color option. Temperature for warmer tones. Adding haze. Also reducing clarity and texture. Next I'm going to try adding bright sunlight behind the mountains. So we'll choose select sky, which automatically detects and selects the sky here. Now with the subtract option, we'll add a linear gradient filter on the left and the right sides to make the sky selection smaller. Here I will make this part brighter as I did in the previous radial filter. This gives a bright sunlight from behind the mountains. Making the selection a little more small. One linear gradient at the bottom. We'll reduce the exposure and overall making it a bit more dark with some pop. One radial filter to make some light hitting from the light source. We'll add some haze with brightness. We'll also subtract selection with a linear filter on the top part as we already have too much light there. One radial filter in the center to make it darker as it will be a shadow area. Coming back to the light menu, reducing the overall brightness a bit more. In curves, tuning overall contrast. Going to color grading, adding bluish tones to the shadows and warm tones to the highlights. Adding some tint will give some good unique colors too. So with some little touches, here's the final result. Hope you found some useful tips here and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.